Miss Mattie Merrywinkle, Chapter 5, A Walk in the Park. Mattie Merrywinkle loved Sunday mornings. There was a lovely lazy feel to the day, even though Gerald still woke her up at some unearthly hour by twitching his tail backwards and forwards under her nose. But on Sundays she could always push him off the bed and snuggle back down if she wanted to. What she most liked to do was to go downstairs and make a cup of tea, which she would then carry back up and enjoy, sitting in bed, propped up by pillows. The transistor radio she kept on her bedside cupboard would be tuned to the radio station with that nice young lad, Alan, something like that. Anyway, he had a lovely soft Welsh lilt to his voice, and he played music to soothe the soul. Today was Sunday, and as well as the above, Mattie had another treat in store. She was going to meet up in the park with her friend. Since her birthday, she thought of her friend Winnie as the little bird that spilled the beans about the day, and in doing so made it a day to remember. Little bird. Mattie smiled at the thought. Truth be told, there was nothing little about Winifred Featherbottom. If she had to be a bird, she would probably be a plumped-up wood pigeon. She certainly had the right kind of waddle when she walked, and there was a darting, beady look to her eyes. But she and Mattie had been friends forever. They'd found each other at school because they were both on the outside of the group, ruled by the terrifying Shirley Scrimshike. Winifred was an outcast because she was so tubby. Yoo-hoo, Winifred Fattybottom! And Matilda because she had such skinny legs. Yoo-hoo, Mattie Matchsticks! Winnie had known about Mattie's crush on Charlie when they were all in the junior school together, but Mattie hadn't said anything yet about bumping into him again recently, or about the note that she'd received along with her birthday present, still propped on her mantelpiece. Mattie was waiting for the right moment. Anyway, the thing was that the rules had changed a bit, and you were now allowed to meet one friend as long as it was outside. So Mattie and Winnie were meeting in Victoria Park to go for a walk. The park had been chosen because Winnie could walk to it easily. She didn't really do walking as a rule. And Mattie, who lived much further away, could cycle there. The cafe was still closed, so they would have to take their own refreshments. Mattie had saved the last 2 fig rolls from her birthday present. They'd arranged to meet by the bandstand, and Mattie was the first to arrive. She propped a bicycle against the railings and settled on one end of the long bench nearby. It was a full 15 minutes before her friend turned up, red in the face and sweating buckets. In addition to the unaccustomed exercise, Winnie was struggling with a black bin bag, which she swung onto the opposite end of the park bench before planting her large bottom next to it. You look like you're leaving home, observed Mattie. Have you been chucked out for misbehaving? Since Winnie had been widowed, she'd lived in sheltered accommodation with very strict rules. Oh, chanced to be a fine thing, chuckled Winnie, gasping for air at the same time. She splayed her right hand across her heaving bosom. Oh, I just need to get my breath back, then I'll tell you all about it. Oh, let's have our snack first. That walk has made me a bit peckish. The word peckish brought the image of the wood pigeon to mind again, and Mattie smiled fondly at her friend as she poured herself some coffee from her own small thermos and nibbled at her biscuits. Meanwhile, Winnie rummaged about in her day sack, glugged down half the bottle of water she found there, rummaged about some more, then pulled out a pale pink lunchbox covered in purple unicorns, which she proceeded to empty. A round of sandwiches, a packet of cheesy nibbles, and a mini chocolate roll were all consumed in the time it took Mattie to work her way through a small cup of coffee and 2 fig rolls. Oh, that's better. Feel a bit more human now. You should eat more yourself, Mattie. I swear you've lost weight since I last saw you. Mattie knew she hadn't, but Winnie always thought people needed fattening up. She was a bit like Charlie in that respect. So, tell me what's in the bag, Mattie said, changing the subject. Well, it's come from our Susan. As you know, she's got more claws than I've had hot dinners, and she decided to have a clear out. She brought it down just before lockdown started, thinking I could maybe take what I didn't want into the shop. Winnie worked part-time as a volunteer in the local charity shop. But they went and shut the shop before I could do that, so I've been keeping the bag in my bedroom, waiting for things to get back to normal. Anyway, I heard last Thursday they're not going to be able to keep the shop going anymore. They can't afford to keep paying the rent, apparently. Oh, that's a shame. What will you do now, Winnie? Ah, don't worry about me, Mattie. Something will turn up. Always does. Anyway, the important thing is that I had a quick look in the bag, and I think some of this stuff will be perfect for you. There's nothing in here that I could squeeze into, but you're like our Susan, skinny as a rake. Some of the colours and patterns might be a bit bold, but that's never seemed to worry you before. She stared meaningfully at Mattie's scarlet tights. Oh, are you sure, Winnie? Shouldn't it go to some other charity? To be honest, Mattie, I can't think of a more deserving one than you. Oh, well, if you're certain. I was just thinking the other day that I'd need to find something cooler now the weather's getting warmer. Well, there you go then. I'll just drop the bag in your basket on your bike now, and then you can put your gloves on to open it when you get home. Oh, I wish I could hug you, Winnie. Well, you can't, so that's that. What you can do, though, is walk with me to the edge of the park. I need to be getting back home. I know we said we walk all around the park, but my bladder's already complaining, and I think I'll only just make it home if we leave right now. I'm too old these days for squatting behind bushes. So they gathered their things together and set off. Mattie pushing her bicycle and Winnie waddling beside her, determined to catch up as much as she could in the short time available. So tell me, Mattie, what prompted the change to figgy biscuits instead of your usual Eccles cakes? I couldn't tell but notice that's what you had with your coffee just now. It's not like you. Oh, funny you should ask that, Winnie. Will you promise to keep it a secret if I tell you? Oh, cross me heart and hope to die. Oh, I love secrets. I'm all ears. She tipped her head to one side and fixed her beady eye on Mattie. Well, it all started with a puncture.